Imagine for a second a Chick-fil-A experience from the customer's perspective and what comes to mind. If you're thinking dining room, flowers, table touches, the front counter, then I wonder, has the paradigm really shifted in this company to line up with what the data is showing us? To see, the data says that 55% of our customers are coming through drive-thru. And that's really at our locations where we've not really scratched the surface on what a face-to-face ordering system can do. A well-developed face-to-face ordering system where the customers and employees alike have been trained to use it is looking at 60, 65%, 70, some locations at 80% coming through their drive-thru. And that's not at the detriment of what's going on in the inside, because that becomes equally robust. And I'll address that in a minute. So we are a drive-thru company with dining rooms attached and not the other way around. We have duplicated what McDonald's had established in the industry as to how to do drive-thru, a speaker box and a window. And it wasn't until, the better part of a decade ago that we operators got disruptive in what this industry was doing and attacked drive-thru in an entirely different way so that we could deliver on the promise. The subtext of a fast food restaurant with a drive-thru is to be fast and to be speedy. And so, and that set forth a change within our company, but man, it's been slow moving for us to really grasp what it is that our customers are desiring. I believe it's drive-thru, not at the neglect of the other parts. And now mall operators, I apologize, you can fast forward, pause, or just delete the video. This obviously is not for you unless drive-thru freestanding restaurant is in your future. But I wanted to give this video to you to not tell you what to think, but how I think and maybe how other operators are thinking about drive-thru, so that you can use your imagination to solve the problems and untangle this mess of drive-thru. You see, in 2006, I learned what is now called face-to-face ordering from Gerald Huggins, and Gerald had been at it for 2 or 3 weeks, and he was gracious enough to host us and have us over and show us the keys of the kingdom. And man, we saw enormous potential in not just his restaurant, but in ours. And you see, I was believing something about my restaurant that wasn't true. And that's the power of belief and imagination, because you make true what you believe about yourself and about your business. So see, I thought that moms with kids did not want to eat at my restaurant because I had 2 high chairs. That's all I needed. We were a white collar business, 9 to 5. White collar and blue collar folks would come eat with us, and moms with kids just would not. But when we had learned from Gerald how to approach drive-thru from a different standpoint and be disruptive, we emptied the dining room of all the carry-out folks and all this visual noise of people with no places to sit, and put them back in their cars. And not only did the numbers increase in drive-thru, but the moms with kids started coming back, and within about 6 months or so, maybe more, we had to add 6 additional high chairs to the 2 that we already had, because moms with kids wanted to eat with us. And so the inside became more robust and in a different way, and with a much higher check average. And between the increases in customer counts in drive-thru, the different demography of those folks that were eating inside, and the increased check average, it was a force multiplier for us. And in 2007, which was the first full year of us doing face-to-face ordering, it was no surprise to me that we won Symbol of Success. I'm not the marketing wizard. I'm not that guy. We just delivered on the promise of drive-thru, and we're meeting the expectations of our customers. And I started to believe differently about my business than the previous mindset. And it was such a powerful lesson for me to be careful with my imagination, because we can imagine solutions to problems, or we can imagine problems. And I think that mind shift has helped me think of things differently. So I wanted to unpack and untangle the mess of drive-thru a little bit. And the way we went about doing it was from the rooftop of the business. And I identified 3 stages of the customer: stage 1, 2, and 3. Stage 1 is when the customer is leaving the cubicle, the classroom, and the shopping center, and we have the privilege of occupying their headspace that they're going to come eat at Chick-fil-A. And because the data bears it out. They're going to come, for the most part, through the drive-thru, particularly during the peak time. Within that stage one, they've entered the parking lot, but they have not had their order placed. Okay. Inside stage one, there is a turning point, and that's the point, and it's subjective, but it's the point in the line where the customer is going to make a couple of decisions. Are they going to become a carryout customer? Are they going to stay in the drive-thru? Are they going to drive past, get out of line, and move on? Or maybe it's the customer that saw it from the street and decided to keep going. That turning point should become identified by the operator and the staff, and it should be a stress point for them, is that this is the point where the line gets any longer, we're going to start hemorrhaging customers. We're going to start creating carryout customers, disgruntled drive-thru customers standing at our counter. And it's interesting to me that we as an institution do not even time the length of time that a customer spends in stage one. The clock doesn't even start until stage two. So stage two is when they've placed their order, and it ends when they receive their order. And all of our processes, which we all well know, reside in stage two. And we have a myopic view of this is what drive-thru is for us, is just stage two, but our customer sees it very differently than that, because there's also stage three. And this is the person who's received their food and they're trying to get out of the parking lot, which sets the stage for a battle royale between the exiting customer and the entering customer, because one has received their food, one has not. They're both hungry, and it's a recipe for disaster unless it's properly addressed. So those are three stages. You can identify those from your rooftop, and many of you have done this and have different ideas about it, but this is just how I think about it, and it's been helpful to us. I have notes over here on this side to keep me going. I'm not a professional speaker. One thing that I come to think about the business is the number of customers that I have at risk, and I think it lies within that carryout percentage. Whatever that percentage is for you, I think that's a customer that's at risk, because the carryout customer, if indeed they are a disgruntled drive-thru customer standing at your counter, they're getting a transaction inside when they wanted it outside, right? So they're not getting it the way they wanted it to begin with. And if that cashier is just slightly indifferent, if they make a mistake of giving, heaven forbid, one ketchup when the customer wanted two, or something worse, giving them a Coke when they wanted Diet Coke, pickles when they didn't want pickles, any infraction is unforgivable. And that customer is certainly not going to tell us and others about that experience. They're not going to pay full price, and they're not going to come more often for that experience. So of course that person, in my mind, is a person at risk. But I think that's only part of the equation of the number of customers that I have at risk. I think the other part is, if you double the carryout percentage, I think that then would include the hemorrhage, the folks that are driving past the business, not getting in the line because we're not giving them a drive-thru they'll drive through. We're not fulfilling the promise of being fast just by the visual noise that gets created by cars. Because I believe that speed matters. Speed no longer, from this day forward, is a four-letter word in this company. It's not. Speed, and within the fabric of speed, is order accuracy and friendliness. You can do all of that within speed. I think the four-letter word is rush, and that's the absence of order accuracy. It's the absence of friendliness, and it is stressful for the customer, and that's not fulfilling our promise to them. So speed matters. It's in the name of the industry, fast food. Let's be fast, and let's let the team know that there is a pace of play when we're working in the drive-thru, whether the kitchen, the cockpit, or outside, whatever your system is. There is a speed component to that, and give them permission. It's okay to be fast, not at the neglect of the other elements of hospitality that go with it. Because our customers, they don't come in tsunami. We think that we get flooded with customer, and that is lunch rush. And I don't even like the word lunch rush. It's a lunch period. We're not rushed. They come in waves, not tsunami, because at every parking lot, within 100 yards to a quarter of a mile, there are traffic lights. And the traffic lights govern the pulse, or the waves, in which customers enter our parking lots. And for me, they enter into our parking lot in numbers of 6 to 8 cars at a time. If we're able to process those 6 to 8 cars at a time, then the next wave hits, the waves don't pile up on themselves and become tsunami, because once they pile up, it's really hard to clear that line out without rushing. And even if you could rush and clear it out, it's probably not even a possibility. So the strategy for us, both inside and outside the restaurant, is Now Service. It's an acronym. It's No One Waits. Because I think the American consumer is okay with being next in line. We don't have to be first in line, but are we next in line? And I think that's an acceptable place. And if I can keep the length of my line always where that person enters in is next or near next, I think I'm going to win. And I think our history bears that out with folks who are pulling in, and they trust us now after this amount of time that we're going to get them processed quickly and hopefully before that next wave hits. So I think, I mentioned imagination earlier. I think we can understand it. You are a creative person. You're created by the creator of the universe who fastened you together for this time and this place. You are a co-creator. You are not a duplicator, because Romans 12:2 tells us, do not conform to the pattern of this fast food industry, but be transformed by the renewing of your restaurant. And we can do this differently. We can be disruptive. We can stop listening to the cacophony of echoes of the world telling us how drive-thru is supposed to be, and start listening to the gentleman whispers of our Creator, and create this awesome experience for our customers that they'll absolutely love and reward us for. I hope this has not been nonsense for you. I hope it hasn't been a waste of your time. It's been helpful. There are tens and hundreds of operators who can tell you what they did. I just wanted to share the message that I don't think is getting through, which is maybe how we think. And that this might be helpful for you as you get some traction quickly and a whole lot less wheel spin as you fulfill the promise in your drive-thru. So thanks for listening.